I'm here to tell you, as a former professional athlete, all we talked about was the next level, and most people think the next level is a cliche. The next level is not a cliche. The next level is a lifestyle. The next level is a tangible place. In 3 years, I doubled my NBA income in the marketplace. That's what I call the next level. See, I firmly believe that making money is easy. I've been in business 15 years. Every year, my salary and income gets bigger, stronger, and faster. Why? Because I understand the keys to that proverbial next level. You are in charge of your next level. You cannot expect to get promoted to that next level if you are mediocre. Some of you guys are doing a $5 million, you want to get to the next level, it's going to require you to become somebody different. If you're at 10 million, you want to get to 20 million, you can, but you must become someone different.
%76% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 64% of Americans that have businesses break even or lose money. Most people don't have any money and have accepted the fact that they don't have any money. They don't have any leftover money. They're fearful of money constantly. They overspend. They don't know how to produce money. They definitely don't know how to multiply it. The land of the brave and the home of the free, it's not even close to the truth.
It's just important for people to understand that complaining has no value. And if you complain about not having enough money, work more. If you complain about not having work-life balance, spend more time on vacationing in your family. It's super simple. Let your actions dictate instead of sitting there and feeling like you're not in control.
Poor people say, I can't afford it, I can't do that, I don't have time. It's an escape, you know what I mean? It's easy to say I can't afford it. Oh, I'm too tired. Oh, I can't go to the gym. You know, when you could go to the gym, but no, I can't. Truth is, I'm just too lazy to go to the gym.
Money doesn't have value, right? And this is an important thing that most people don't immediately understand, is that money itself doesn't have value. Money is a vector for transmitting value. It's how you express value. But the value isn't in the money, it's in the product or service you bought with it, and it's in the labor you gave in order to acquire it in the first place. That's where the value comes from. There's nothing intrinsically valuable in the money.
You shouldn't put money in a house, you should put money in your brand. You should put money in the marketing. You should promote yourself, not put money in where you and the kids live.
Right. Why is that a mistake?
Because it's dead money. I mean, it can't, a house can't make you money. A house does not make you money. The only reason people think a house makes them money is they're comparing it to, if I rent, that costs me money. But, you know, if you need to go to a hospital, you don't buy the hospital. You rent a bed to get out of there as fast as you can. If you go on a trip, you go to America and you want to go to Disneyland, you don't buy the hotel, you rent a room. And nobody thinks poorly of that. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna go there, use the place and get out. That's what you should be doing with your living. Find a place where you can rent. Pay rent monthly. Don't own the house. And take all the money that you would have put in that house purchase, down payment, use all that money to improve your business and yourself so that you can get more money. So I see so many people here like, I'm gonna invest 300,000 pounds in a house to hopefully make $30,000. I'm gonna buy it for 300, maybe I'll sell it for 600,000. I'll double my money. Fixed in one place, by the way, where no money comes to you. Money does not go to homes.
Right, and that's a big thing on your career is moving locations, because people who stay in the same place get too comfortable.
If you study wealthy people, they're mercurial. They're moving, they're mobile. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates do not talk about the home they live in. They talk about the places they're going to. They go meet money, they go meet wealth, they go meet connections.
People are stunningly accepting of anything if they actually believe that's the purest form of it. I think I'd be less acceptable if I hedged. I really do. People will accept you. People accept everything. Just be you. Be you, and clearly people react. When you're trying to fake something and you've got bad intent, well then that's visceral and we hate. But I actually think we don't give love to the person that actually knows they have it and they're trying to fake it to conform. Hence why I won't adjust to this market all the way, because I don't think I'll be respected. I know what my intent is. So why would I be scared? I want to build the biggest building in town. That's who I am. And you know how I want to do that? By building the biggest building in town. And a lot of people want to build the biggest building in town. And you know how they want to do it? By tearing everybody else's building down.
Poverty is passed on. It's taught in your families. And middle class is taught in families. And so the people right now who are sitting at home, who are struggling financially or worried about money or unhappy, they may be making a lot of money, but unhappy with what they're doing, it was probably taught to you. You know, your super ego was taught, get a job, work hard, or you'll never be rich, or the rich are evil, or whatever. When they say I can't afford it or I can't do that, they become what they say. And I meet so many people, I can't afford it. You think I'm made of money? My PhD dad, he says, what do you think I am, made of money? I can't afford that. And my rich dad would say, that's why he's poor. Poor people say, I can't afford it, I can't do that, I don't have time. Because it's an escape. It's an escape, you know what I mean? It's easy to say I can't afford it. Oh, I'm too tired. Oh, I can't go to the gym. When you could go to the gym, but no, I can't. Truth is, I'm just too lazy to go to the gym. A question opens the mind, a statement closes the mind. See, when you say I can't afford it, your mind shuts down and you become what you say. But the thing is that we become creatures of our own habits. And until we break the habit, we don't change. Poverty is passed on. It's taught in your families. And middle class is taught in families. And so the people right now who are sitting at home, who are struggling financially or worried about money or unhappy, they may be making a lot of money, but unhappy with what they're doing, it was probably taught to you. You know, your super ego was taught, get a job, work hard, or you'll never be rich, or the rich are evil, or whatever. If you're poor, you'll always be poor. Just like most pro athletes, you know, they make millions of dollars, and what 65% are bankrupt 5 years later. It's because they come from poor families. Now you tell them that, they get very angry at you. It's the rich fault, you know, you guys ripped me off, and the government ripped me off. But unfortunately, it's passed down genetically. That's the frightening thing. We've got to change what we teach our kids. So I remember raising my hand when I was 9 years old, talking to my fourth grade teacher, and I said, you know, when am I going to learn about money? She says, the love of money is the root of all evil. We don't teach money at school. I said, why not? And she couldn't answer me, and she got very flustered. She says, go ask your father. He's my boss. So my father was the head of education, PhD, all that stuff. I go home and ask him, said, why don't we learn about money in school? And he looked at me and says, because the government doesn't let us teach that subject. The government tells us what we can teach and what we can't teach. And I thought that was strange. And I said, but aren't we going to school to learn about money? He says, no, your job is to get a job. I said, but you get a job to earn money. He goes, no, you're supposed to just get a job. And I went, no. Isn't the purpose of a job to earn money? He goes, you're correct. I said, so why don't I just learn about money? I can skip the job part, you know? And he got flustered and he said, look, if you want to learn about money, why don't you ask your best friend's father about money? So I asked him. He says, because Mike's father is an entrepreneur. And I said, what are you? He says, I'm an employee. I'm a government employee. And I went, oh. What's the difference? He says the difference is an entrepreneur must know about money, or they're no longer entrepreneurs. And he says an employee doesn't have to know anything about money, because the government will take care of them, the company will take care of them. Money on one condition, and that condition was he would never pay me. He says, the moment I pay you, you think like an employee. He says, that's the trap. Entrepreneurs work for free. And now I'm 9 years old, my head's going cracking in half. He says, you never want a paycheck. You understand that, kid? I said, okay, I got it. And he says, well, how do I make money? He says, that's what entrepreneurs figure out. It's like a cat, which comes first, a cat or the cat chasing its tail. And I said, so how do I learn about money? So he would just break out a Monopoly game board. So I would work for free. I'd pick up cigarette butts, and he had hotels and restaurants, and I would clean and do menial tasks. And as I got older, I started getting into office work and marketing and accounting, and I was an apprentice basically, but I always worked for free. He says that the moment you accept a paycheck, your brain goes dead. As long as you're hungry, you'll think. And he was a great, great teacher. You see, most teachers in school, they're out of ethics. They teach subjects they themselves don't practice. A fake teacher is somebody who just wants a job and they'll teach anything. They teach how to shine shoes if you pay them more money. But they really don't know what they're teaching. For example, my calculus teacher, went to military school in New York, and I asked the teacher, I said, I'm in my 3rd year of calculus now. I said, am I ever going to use this stuff? He goes, no. I said, why do you teach it? He says, because I get paid. I said, do you ever use it? He goes, no. And that's why, you have to, in life, one of the things I suggest to people, you got to find a real teacher versus a fake teacher. And a fake teacher is somebody who doesn't do what they teach. And a real teacher is doing what they teach every day. School systems are making our students weaker. So in school, they have these things called now trigger effects. So you can't, as a teacher, you can't say anything that might upset the student. They don't want anything that might jar their point of view. So if I went into school, I'd be thrown out. You see people say, well, why don't you give the poor money? So the only problem with that is it just creates more poor people. You give a man a fish, you get a lot of people who want more fish, But you teach them to fish. We're more antagonistic, more antisocial. Social media is antisocial. That's the danger part. So the reason I'm speaking on spirituality, we got to evolve. It means meditation, it means yoga, it means praying, it means going to church, whatever it takes. But you got to get back to calm and peace and meditation. And it's going to be, as we all know, our banks have ripped us off immensely. They're just a bunch of crooks. I don't know how they can live with themselves. But the bankers rip off trillions and they get bonused in billions. Nobody goes to jail. That's the sickness of our society. So that's why I write about financial education. It's almost like self-defense. It's almost like taking judo against our own government and our own banking systems and Wall Street. The people who are afraid of making mistakes, like they teach in school, they don't ever grow. Because spirituality is there's good and there's bad, there's right and there's wrong, there's up and there's down. Most people only want to be right. They only want to be positive. Well, you can't have that. That's not reality. Every time I failed, it was like, good. I said, okay, what have I learned? And the average person, the reason they're poor is they haven't failed.
Now, the stuff we teach here, and have for almost 30 years, is proven. It's no longer an opinion. It's not a theory. I don't agree with Dave Ramsey's advice, which would make you wrong. And I know you're writing a blog from your mother's basement and you're looking for clickbait using my name. I understand that, but you're wrong. And it's always humorous to me to see people who are broke on Twitter ragging on the advice that I give. Or a broke 26-year-old journalism student deeply in student loan debt writing an article about me. That's humorous because it's stupid. Here's the thing. Here's the advice that we give you. If you do these 5 things from the Bible and from your grandmother, they're called common sense, you will win with money 100% of the time. Now, I don't know exactly how long it will take you, and I don't know what win with money will mean because I cannot predict your income, and I cannot predict the tragedy that you will have to overcome. But subject to your income to tragedy ratio, To the extent you do these 5 things, you will win with money. You will become wealthy in North America if you will do these 5 things over and over again. Number 1, you need to have a written plan, a budget. Jesus said, don't build a tower without first counting the cost, lest you get halfway up and you're unable to finish, and all who see you begin to mock you and say, this man began to build. No one began to build and was unable to finish. No one accidentally wins at anything. And you're not the exception. I don't like Dave Ramsey's advice. I don't give a crap. You're wrong. You have to do a written game plan with money or you're going to lose. Second thing is you got to get out of debt. Your most powerful wealth building tool is your income. And when you spend your whole freaking life giving your money to banks who fill up the skyline and have furniture nicer than yours, that makes you stupid. Get out of debt. When you don't have any payments, you know what you've got? Money. Do I care if you get out of debt? Yes, I want you to win. I want you to have a great life. But do I care if you agree with me? No. I don't care if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me about this money stuff, you're what's known as wrong. I've been doing this longer than most of my critics. They were peeing in their diaper while I was doing this stuff. They're wrong. Live on less than you make. Number 3. In the house of the wise are stores of choice food and oil, but a foolish man devours all that he has. If you spend everything you make, you're a fool. Well, Dave, you don't know about my situation. In America today, wages are stagnant. So why are they stagnant at your house? You know where wages are stagnant? On people who are stagnant. You're only got stagnant wages if you decide to stay there and keep getting those wages. This is not Russia. You can quit. I don't like how much Walmart pays. I don't like how much McDonald's pays. So don't work there, stupid. Go to work for somebody else. I don't like how my company treats me. So leave. Go be somebody. There's no reason that you have to be stuck somewhere because some liberal journalist said you were stuck. You're not stuck. You're stagnant. Don't be stagnant. You know what stagnant pond water does? It grows scum on top. You don't want to be stagnant. You get scummy. You need to go be somebody. You need to leave the cave, kill something, and drag it home. You need to decide that my life is not good enough the way it is, and so I am going to control the controllables. I am going to change some things. Because guess what? Nobody in Washington is going to fix your life. Santa Claus doesn't live there, baby. Have you noticed that the Democrats and the Republicans, neither one could freaking add? Have you ever had any of them send you money? No. They are not going to fix your freaking life. You are going to fix your life. You're going to get on a plan. You're going to get out of debt. You're going to live on less than you make. And then you're going to save some money. You know how rich people get rich? They save money. Wow! I don't know if I agree with Dave Ramsey's investment assumptions. I don't give a crap if you agree with my investment assumptions. You know what my investment assumption is? My assumption is you're going to be broke until you save money. That's my assumption. You need to get up off your assumption and go do something. You need to get up off your assumption and start investing some money. 100% of the people that don't save money don't have any. Wow, how's that for insight? Doesn't take a freaking rocket scientist to figure this out. You know what the problem on your investments are? The problem with your investments is not your rate of return. It's not your expense ratio. It's not no load versus load. It's not your nerdy, twisted up, toxic butt opinion about some investment. Your problem with your investments is you don't have any. That's the problem with your investments. 100% of the people that build wealth save money. A lot. Some people do it poorly in a stupid money market account and make no money on their money. Others do it wisely in mutual funds that outperform the S&P, or real estate that they pay cash for that outperforms the S&P. Others are just passive and do the S&P. And they all write books about it and all have a freaking opinion and make money off of you while you're stagnant. That's stupid. Don't be stagnant. Invest money, save money. You know how you're going to do that? You're going to be on a plan. You're going to get up out of debt. You're going to live on less than you make, and voila, there is money in the budget. It's called margin, baby.
If you want to increase your earning ability, there are key questions that you can ask yourself on a regular basis so that you are completely clear about what it is that you have to offer. Look into yourself and make a list of all the things that you can do that someone somewhere in the marketplace would be willing to pay money for. You see, your earning ability is your ability to get results that people value. You must absolutely, positively know the answers to these questions if you want to maximize your value, your earning ability, and your income in our economy. One of the most important responsibilities in adult life, as the president of your own personal corporation, is for you to develop skills for which there is a demand in the marketplace and then keep those skills current. So the first question you then ask is, what are your skills? Make a list of every skill that you have developed as a result of studying, practice, and experience. Write down every skill that you have used to get results for yourself and others in the past. The more, the better. And by the way, you'll be quite amazed at all the skills that you have developed over the course of your lifetime. But until you write them down, you're really not aware of how competent and capable you really are. Here's the second question. What have you done well at various jobs and activities in the past? What sort of activities in the past have been most responsible for your success in your work life to date? So look back over your career and think about your high points, your greatest successes. What specific skills and abilities were you using at the time that you were getting the very best results? Aristotle once said that all of wisdom is a combination of experience plus reflection. It's only when you reflect on what it was that you were doing, where you were the most successful, that you can then identify those skills and use them again and again in the future. Here's the third question. What sort of activities in your work and personal life do you most enjoy? Remember, you'll always be most successful doing the things that you enjoy the most. What sort of activities give you the greatest feeling of pleasure and personal satisfaction? When you're engaged in this type of activity, you lose track of time. You become completely absorbed, and you feel wonderful about yourself when you are done. What are these activities for you? Question number 4 is, what parts of your work do you do most easily and well? What you have done well in the past is often a good indicator of what you will do best in the future. The first law of horses says that the best direction to ride a horse is in the direction that the horse is going. The very best way for you to maximize your income and your possibilities is to do more and more of the things that you do the most easily and well. What are they? What is the natural direction of your interests and abilities? Number 5 is for you to describe your ideal job. Imagine that you could have any job in the world. Exactly what job would that be? Remember, you can't hit a target that you can't see. If you won $1 million cash tomorrow, and you could choose any job at all, exactly what would your ideal job look like? Project yourself into the future. What sort of work would you like to be doing in 3 to 5 years? Since 3 to 5 years is going to pass in any case, the time to start thinking about where you want to be in the future is today. Now, just as in any kind of goal setting, identify the obstacles that stand between you and getting your ideal job. What is the main obstacle? Why can't you get your ideal job today? What is standing in your way or holding you back? Very often, it's an action on your part, or a talent, or a skill, or more information, but find out what's holding you back and go to work on that. And here's the final question. What level of responsibility do you desire in your work? How high up do you want to rise in your career? What level or position would you be most comfortable with? Do you enjoy working by yourself, Or would you like to be a manager with people working under you? Remember, some people are ideally suited for individual work, and others are better suited to work as managers or supervisors. Which type of position would make you the happiest based on your past experience? The more specific you are with regard to what and where and why and when and how you wish to work, the easier it is for you to find the right job and earn the very most money possible for you.
Hey, if you're running east looking for a sunset, you got a problem. I don't care how enthusiastic you are. So you've got to develop strategies on how to, 1, attract money into your life in the first place. How are you going to create that initial income? 2, how to manage that money so that you can invest it and get money to be your slave instead of you being the slave to money. In other words, get your money to make you more money. So it's not taking more of your time and physical effort, but where you literally begin to leverage yourself. And then 3, strategies on how to share money. So it gives you a tremendous amount of joy. Because to me, that's a strategy that's critical also. Otherwise, why are you going to keep getting it? Your brain has got to link pleasure to it or it won't continue to work for it. And if you can learn to share it with people, I've found that yes, giving yourself things is fabulous and you should do that. But if you can also share that, it'll give you even more joy. It'll give you all those pleasurable feelings you've really wanted. Those are 3 strategies that are critical. So how do we go about mastering these strategies? Where do we come up with this? I mean, we weren't taught this in school, that's for sure. No one said, hey, take wealth building 101. So how do we go about it? And the answer is simple. We use modeling. Remember, one of the things I talked to you about earlier that has helped me to be effective in various areas of my life has been getting role models, finding people that are effective and finding out exactly what they do. That's all you have to do in this area as well. You need to find people that are successful financially and find out exactly what they do on an ongoing basis that creates that success. In other words, they aren't just lucky. In order to get this result, they're doing certain things on a daily basis, and it's a lot simpler than you can imagine. Hey, I turned my entire life around financially in less than 12 months. I was the guy in that 400 square foot bachelor apartment. 12 months later, I had $1 million net worth. That's not a small turnaround. I moved from my little 400 square foot bachelor apartment to my castle. All of that came from modeling successful people financially. If you're interested in developing absolutely effective plans on how to start from literally zero or a small amount of investment and build significant wealth, financial abundance in your life, that's specifically what a good portion of my life has been focused on, and I've interviewed and developed the strategies and modeled the strategies of some of the most successful people in the country, and I know how to put it across simply. So if you want to know about that, please do call us because we do seminars on that specifically. And you don't have to come to our seminars. There are other people's too. There are other books. Or you don't even have to go to any seminars. You can go and meet these people directly and model them yourself. You can find people in your own neighborhood, people around you who've done extremely well, and find out exactly what they're doing that makes it work. Become like an investigator, become like a hunter, and your prey is now wealth. And what you're going to do is stalk it. You're going to study its habits. You're going to notice where it goes. Really follow this prey. And then don't kill it. Make it your pet. Take it home. Make it your friend. Take good care of this pet, and this pet will take really good care of you. Gosh, if you can make earning money and developing wealth fun, you can't believe what will happen in your life. It doesn't become your whole focus, but it becomes a part of what creates joy for you in life. And while you're doing it, by the way, you're adding value to other people's lives. Because the only way you can possibly make money is to create an exchange of energy and value for other human beings. That's the only way it can be done. And by the way, once you've really studied and you have developed a plan to develop wealth, the only thing you're going to need in addition is a good vehicle. And again, part of your plan should be how to get that vehicle, how to develop something for you so that you're earning money even while you're sleeping. How would you feel then? Instead of feeling like every day there are things you had to do just to keep up, just to support your family, just to have a certain level of lifestyle. So developing not only a plan, but the right vehicle is very, very important. And again, that's things that we teach and things you can learn on your own by modeling other people. But that is wealth wound number 3, failure to get an effective strategy for consistent wealth building. Here's wealth wound number 4. This one's pretty simple. Failure to consistently follow your plan once it gets set up. See, there are people who actually have developed a good plan. They've got some good role models. They worked really hard. They've studied finances, but they don't get themselves every single day to follow through. Like, for example, I'm sure you've heard about all the different kinds of programs where people teach people how to get rich overnight. And you know what? Some of them really would work. A lot of them don't, obviously. A lot of them are scams. But some of them really do work. The problem is people don't work them. They go to a seminar and they learn how they're supposedly going to build something financially, but they never follow through. It's mind-boggling. But the problem is they don't have what we're teaching you, which is how to get yourself to follow through, how to condition yourself so you consistently take those small steps that create huge financial abundance. I mean, one of the simplest examples that I can give you is one you probably already know about, but the question is, have you followed through on it? And that is the whole principle of compound interest. You're familiar with it, aren't you? Gosh, if you're not, you need to introduce yourself to the principle. What it basically says is this: if you take a certain amount of money and you set it aside, and all you do is allow that money to continue to bring you interest, in other words, you lend it to a financial institution or make a simple investment, a very secure investment, and you get a return of, let's say, 10% or 16%. And by the way, when I say that to some people, they say, oh, you couldn't get a secure investment at 16%. They simply don't know the strategies. There are people whose net worths are over $100 to $500 million who will tell you that anyone, even with a very small amount of money, can earn over 20% annually on their money in a very secured way. In fact, that's part of the strategies that we teach in our money seminars. But the point is, let's just say you took a small amount of money. Let's say, for example, $325 a day, $100 a month. And all you did was invest that and got 16% return on your money. And all you did was do that every single month. In other words, every day you followed your plan. You put a little $3.25 away, $100 a month, and you invested it at 16%. What does that mean if you don't take that money out and you really stick to your plan? Answer: after 5 years, what you have is $8,000. After 10 years, you have got $21,000, just at $100 a month. After 15, over $41,000. After 20 years, you got $75,000. And after 25, you've got over $125,000 by investing $100 a month. Now, maybe that's not going to make you wealthy within 25 years, but we're talking about a simple little thing you could do every day that would be absolutely painless. What are some of the negative associations that people sometimes link in their subconscious mind to money that keep them from literally attracting it? Or they start to attract it and then their brain gets scared and says, oh my God, this might lead to pain, and then sabotages it. Well, some of them are things like, in order to make it, I'm gonna have to work so hard, I'll have no time to enjoy it. So why even try? Or, gosh, by the time I earn a lot of money, I'll be old and gray anyway, so why even go after it? Or, to make money, you gotta be really smart, and I'm not smart enough. Or, to make money, you have to take advantage of other people, and I could never do that. Or something like, well, gosh, you know, if I made money, I wouldn't have any time to be with my family. Or if I made a lot of money, people will start judging me. Or if I make a lot of money, well, then I'll just have to pay more taxes. And then the IRS will be after me, and then what'll happen? People usually worry about these things, and people have no money at all to start with. They knock themselves out of the game before they even get to bat. Or if I make a lot of money, I probably won't be as spiritual. I mean, I'll get sucked in. And of course, I remember reading the Bible, it said, you know, it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than the rich man to get into heaven. And gosh, you know, it's hard for camels to get through needles. Classic misinterpretations like that cause people to live in experiences of lack. And I don't know of any place in the world where when people feel like they're living in lack, where they feel like they don't have enough, where that encourages the highest level of the human spirit to come out on a consistent basis. Now, I might be wrong about that, but I gotta tell you, wherever I see lack, I see crime in mass. Wherever I see lack, I see people trying to escape with drugs. Wherever I see lack, I see people taking advantage of other people and making it okay, justifying it by, well, I had to survive. I don't think lack brings out the best in the human spirit. I think when we have abundance, what happens is we stop focusing on ourselves and how we're going to survive. And we have enough to start focusing on who we really are, which are human beings or spirits that are here to contribute. And I think when you're in a position of trying to survive, your focus is on you. When you've learned to handle that message, when you really know you've got your act together and you don't have to worry anymore, it's much easier for people to look at how can I contribute to my fellow man. Now, I'm not saying that you can't come from a position of lack and be a contributor. So I'm not saying money's the only answer. I'm just saying in this culture, in this time, if you had a choice between having it or not having it, why not go for it and have it too? Why not use your money as a powerful tool for positive influence in the people's lives you care about as well as your own, and enjoy having it. Get off the guilt trips that have stopped you in the past. It is that sense of guilt that if you have more money than somebody else, or what if you made more money than your father? Oh my gosh, God, what a wound that would be. It's that kind of thing, those negative associations that are keeping you from having what you want. So if you do not have all the money you want in your life, you associate more pain to having more money than you have now than not having it. It's that simple. Now, with the technology that we've learned, you can condition yourself to change those feelings and those beliefs. But I want you to know that is the number one reason that most people don't succeed financially, according to people that are most successful in the world at obtaining, maintaining, and building wealth. Here's the second wealth wound. And by the way, I picked those words very specifically. I want you to get a clear picture that if you don't master and handle the 7 things I'm about to talk about, then every single day you're probably experiencing a financial bloodletting. What's happening is you are experiencing the pain on an ongoing basis of wounds, things that are literally dripping out of you, your own financial well-being, and there's no excuse for it. You can handle it easily and quickly. Here's the second one. The second reason these people say, and have told me thus far, that people do not succeed financially is not only do they have negative associations to money, but even if they have okay associations, they never make having an abundance of money an absolute must. Interesting distinction. I'm not saying love money and make it your God, because that's the way to absolutely be certain that you fail in life, that you destroy everything that's valuable. But what I am saying is make it a priority so you get it handled. And make the priority not just getting by. Make the priority massive abundance and come up with a specific figure you hold yourself to. I'll give you an example. People who consistently stay at a specific weight, who are once fat but really stay thin and they don't really vary a whole lot. In modeling these people, I found that they have certain things in common. Just to give you an idea or a distinction, the one thing that they all have in common is they have decided upon an ideal weight, a weight that they must be at. And they have a specific amount they can vary, and it's usually small. Let's say 2 or 3 or 4 pounds, maximum. If, for example, they say, I'm going to weigh 235 pounds, and all of a sudden they creep up and they see they're 238 pounds, instantly they do whatever it takes to get back to 235, because 235 for them is a must. Do you follow me? The same thing has to be true for you financially. You've got to have a certain level of finances that you must be at. And if you ever vary, you've got to do something about it immediately. Otherwise, you get caught up in what we call Niagara's current, right? Where day to day, you just get caught up in making a living and doing things and putting things off, and it doesn't happen. So the only way you're going to succeed financially is when you decide on a specific amount of money that you must have in your life. And it must be well beyond what your absolute needs are. So in other words, what I'm asking you to do is take something that seems right now to be an accessory, money, and make it a necessity.
Here's the big challenge of life. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. That's the challenge. And of course, the other side of the coin reads, unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you got. I have found in my experience that income does not far exceed personal development. Now, sometimes income takes a lucky jump, but sure enough, unless you grow out where it is, it'll usually come back where you are. Life has strange ways. If somebody hands you $1 million, best you become a millionaire quickly, so you get to keep the money. Otherwise, sure enough, it'll disappear. Somebody once said, if you took all the money in the world, divided it up equally among everybody, it would soon all be back in the same pockets. Incredible. Success is something you attract, not something you pursue. Success is looking for a good place to stay. So instead of going after it, you work on yourself. Personal development. See, the major question to ask on the job is not what are you getting? The major question to ask on the job is what are you becoming? See, the big question is not what am I getting paid here? The big question is what am I becoming here? Because true happiness is not contained in what you get. Happiness is contained in what you become. So that's our major subject for tonight, personal development. Of all the assignments Mr. Schoaf gave me at age 25, this was probably the most difficult. In fact, I'm still working on this one. I think it's an unending challenge to see what you can become. The next subject is called Basic Laws. And it's good to study the basics. And I call these basics primarily because they come from the Bible. Now, I'm not a theologian or a minister, and that'll be apparent. But Mr. Shelf taught me that the Bible was a good textbook for ideas and stories and success equations, how to live the better life. I found out that was true. He also taught me that the Bible is as practical as it is spiritual, and I found out that's true. If you look at your bank account and your income and you're not happy, there are several places in the Bible to check to see what the heck's wrong so you can make the changes. And we're going to cover some of those tonight, called basics. Okay, the next subject is my favorite, setting goals. Mr. Shelf taught me how to set goals. What a favor that was. One morning at breakfast, shortly after I met him, he said, Jim, let me see your current list of goals and let's go over them and talk about them. He said, maybe that's the best way I can help you get a better direction started. And I said, I don't have a list. He said, well, is it out in the car or home somewhere? I said, no, sir. I don't have a list anywhere. He said, well, young man, that's where we got to start. He said, I can tell you right now, if you don't have a list of your goals with you, he said, I can guess your bank balance within a few $100s. Which he did. And that got my attention. I said, you mean my bank balance would change if I had a list of goals? He said, drastically. That day, I became a willing student how to set goals. And sure enough, learning how to set goals changed my life. And I often wondered why no one had ever taught me how to set goals up until age 25. I went to high school, but if they offered it, I missed it. I went to college for a year, never heard it. I worked for Sears. Really? And to my knowledge, Sears never taught it. Right? How to set goals. So here I am, age 25, married, my family's starting, I've been to college, I'm working, and I still don't know how to set goals. But fortunately, when I was 25, I met the man who taught me how, and it revolutionized my whole life. Economically, socially, personally, it's incredible. So I want to share with you tonight what Mr. Shove shared with me, how to set goals. It can be a life changer. Okay, the next subject is the negative part of the seminar. Life is part negative, so we got to talk about the negative. And this subject is called diseases of attitude. Diseases of attitude. There's a lot of things that can wreck your chances to do well. We live in a rather dangerous world, so you got to be not only wise, you got to be careful. Now, attitude diseases are just as bad as physical diseases, right? High blood pressure, heart trouble. I mean, a lot of things lace your chances to do well. So you've got to be careful. And attitude diseases are deadly. I mean, they'll destroy all the good things you start.
Let's get rid of the old myth, once and for all, that money is bad or unimportant. It is not bad, and it is important. It's vitally important. It's just as important as the food and clothes it buys, the shelter it affords, the education it provides, and the doctor's bills it pays. Money is important to any person living in a civilized society. To argue and split hairs to the effect that it's not as important as other things is absurd. Nothing will take the place of money in the area in which money works, and that's all there is to it. What is money? Money is the harvest of our production. Money is what we receive for our production and service as persons, and which we can then use to obtain the production and services of others. We can quite often accurately gauge the extent of our production and service by simply counting the amount of money we receive for it. You'll hear people say, money won't bring happiness. The earning and possession of money has brought a lot more happiness than has poverty. Money is a warm home and healthy children. It's birthday presents and a college education. It's a trip abroad and the means to help older people and the less fortunate. We're not saying that piling up a lot of wealth is important. What we're saying is that money is important because it's the only reward which is completely negotiable and can be used by everyone. Look at it this way. A diamond is more valuable than a lump of coal. Yet that's exactly what a diamond was at one time. And just as a lump of coal can be transformed into one of the world's most valuable gems, A human being can vastly increase his or her own value to the world. Try to remember this formula. The amount of money we receive will always be in direct ratio to the demand for what we do, our ability to do it, and the difficulty of replacing us. A highly skilled human being is worth more money in our economy than a person who is not highly skilled and who can be easily replaced. Now, this is not to say that one person is any better than any other person or more important. Remember that in this message, we're only talking about money, nothing else. A janitor is just as important as a human being as a brain surgeon. But the amount of money they'll earn will be proportional to the demand for what they do, their ability to do what they do, and the difficulty of replacing them. A person can be trained to clean and maintain a building in a few weeks, and replacing the person is not difficult. A brain surgeon spent many years learning his profession, often at great personal sacrifice and at extremely high cost, and he cannot be easily replaced. As a result, the surgeon might earn as much money in an hour as a janitor might earn in a year. Now, these are extreme cases used to show the relation of income to demand, skill, and supply. And this is as it should be. This is why there are few limitations on a person within his or her company and industry. Their incomes will be in exact proportion to the demand for what they do, their ability to do what they do, and the difficulty of replacing them. That's why the whole idea of trying to get something for nothing is ridiculous and won't work. A top jockey will earn a great deal of money every year, which will represent about 10% of the winnings of the horses he rides. You might say riding a horse serves no useful purpose, but the demand is there, useful or not. It's the same with a star in show business. His or her income will very accurately reflect the demand for what he or she does. Now that's why preparation for life is so important. Luck has been defined, as we've mentioned, as what happens when preparedness meets opportunity. A great opportunity will only make the unprepared, the unqualified, appear ridiculous. For every one of us, opportunities are all around us. Our ability to see them will depend in large part on how well we've prepared ourselves. Now, how do you stack up in this regard? While this may sound elementary, you'd be amazed at the number of people who want more money but don't want to take the time and trouble to qualify for it. And until they qualify it, there's no way on earth for them to earn it. It's like the person who wants a good-looking figure but doesn't want to change eating habits. To 9/10 of the world's population, the average North American is already rich. There's a greater difference between the standard of living of most of the world's population and our average worker than there is between the standard enjoyed by our average worker and the richest person in our society. Our working people have just about everything the wealthiest have, only smaller. They have a home, car, often two of them, radio, TV, savings account, debts. They're just smaller. Their food is as good and just as plentiful. Their beds are just as comfortable. Their home is just as warm in the winter. They have exactly the same amount of time and just as much, maybe more freedom. Their life expectancy at birth is about 75 years. For the rest of the world, on the average, it's less than 60. With only a fraction of the world's population, we in the free world have half the world's total money income. We have more than 2/3 of all the automobiles on the planet. So in talking about money, let's understand that we're already rich as a people. Now, how much do you want? How much money do you need to live the way you want to live, to accomplish the goals you've established for yourself? Most people think they want more money than they really do, and settle for a lot less than they could earn if they went about it the right way. The world will pay you exactly what you bargained for, exactly what you earned, but not a penny more. You remember that old poem that goes, "I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more"? Well, that's about it. We'll receive not what we idly wish for, but what we justly earn.
When we're born into this stage of feeling like a victim, and we download all this information from family, friends, school systems, media, religion, government, from everybody around us about how the world works. It's not necessarily accurate. When you awaken from this victimhood mindset and move into more of an empowerment mindset, you start to attract more money in your life because you start to have more power and more energy to make new decisions. Lesson number one is to give yourself a break. I've been through very tough times in my life. I was homeless 30-some years ago. I struggled. I starved. I went through long periods of unemployment. I went through long periods of indecision. I went through long periods of feeling like nothing was going to work out. Where was the money? Where was my job? Were things going to work out for me? When was I finally going to get published? Because I wanted to be an author, and I kept struggling, kept wanting, kept desiring to make that come true. And at some point, I realized I have to stop and forgive myself. I have to stop and say, Joe, you are doing the best you can. And I think that's true for all of us. You might be struggling now, maybe you struggled in the past. Whatever the case may be, give yourself a break. Forgive, let go, and grow. This is one of the biggest lessons, because if you carry around the past, you're not going to be able to create the future you want. The energy that you're using to carry that luggage in your emotional energy system is preventing you from releasing it to attract money into your life right now. You've got to forgive and let go and grow. Lesson number 2 is all about hypnosis. Hypnosis may be subtle, but it's a powerful tool. Now, I am a hypnotherapist, and I've spoken at the National Guild of Hypnotists several times over the years. I've written hypnotic writing and a book called Buying Trances, so I know about the power of the mind. I know about the power of a trance. And the thing to realize here when it comes to attracting money is all of us are in a cultural trance. We have a trance, which is a mindset, which is a belief system that's been installed over the decades that we've been growing up. When we're born into this stage of feeling like a victim, and we download all this information from family, friends, school systems, media, religion, government, from everybody around us about how the world works. It's not necessarily accurate. When you awaken from this victimhood mindset and move into more of an empowerment mindset, you start to attract more money in your life because you start to have more power and more energy to make new decisions. So hypnosis has helped me realize that we're all in a trance of one sort or another. If you'd like to be in the money-making, money-attracting trance, then you have to wake up from the scarcity trance. I've done that, and you can do that too. Lesson number 3. This is all about the smallest gestures that you do can actually carry the greatest weight. I've managed to be on Larry King twice. I was on Donnie Deutsch's CNBC Big Idea. I've been in several movies, including The Secret. And some of it's happened because I did little things. I was able to give somebody a book, which was then given to a producer, which was then the reason for a phone call. But when I did the small little gesture, it wasn't to make something happen. It came from my heart. I did something because my heart said, do this. I gave something because my heart said, give this. As a result of this small little thing, it caused a ripple in the universe, and it came back to me. I think this is a lesson about appreciating your own intuition, about acting on your own inner nudges, and trusting that where they go can be somewhere profound. That the small little gestures you offer right now can actually be the lever that kicks in your ability to attract more money. Lesson 4 is all about appreciation. I am a great believer that when you appreciate what you have, you will receive more. When you are in this moment feeling gratitude for this moment, you actually up your vibrational signal to attract more things to be grateful for. Now, this isn't really complicated. When you're in this moment and you're grateful for what's going on, you feel better. You feel lighter. You feel happier. When you appreciate anything with genuine sincerity in this moment, you actually begin to attract new experiences to be grateful for. What you get in the next few moments is going to be based on what you feel in this moment. Recently, I read a study that said your unconscious mind does things 3 days out, meaning that what you feel right now is going to cause a response 3 days from now. When you're aware of that, then you start to become acutely aware of how you think and how you believe and how you radiate. So in this lesson number 4, it's about appreciating the moment, feeling grateful right now, moving into the essence of this be here now moment where nothing else matters and nothing else is possible. When you feel grateful in this moment, 3 days from now, moments from now, you will have more to be grateful for. This is a powerful, powerful lesson. Lesson number 5, don't lean on the past. Learn from it and move on. This ties into one of the earlier lessons I was referring to, but this is about just letting go, period, but learning from the experience. I've tried many businesses, some of which didn't work out, but they didn't work out the way I expected them to. They worked out better than how I expected them to. But when they're not working out, it might be perceived as a failure in that moment. It depends on your mindset. If you see that a failure is really an opportunity to do something different, you can learn from it and then move forward, adapting as you go. As you do that, you end up attracting money that you never thought might show up because you're surprised by it. So the past can be a great educator, just don't get locked into it.
I want to talk to you today about what I think it really takes to become wealthy in financial terms. Specifically, we're going to talk about today how to condition yourself for wealth. Because I'm going to make a statement right now that may sound like an oversimplification to you, but I have to tell you that it's true in my experience. And my experience is how to shift myself and other people's finances from struggling to absolute total abundance. And that statement is this: if you do not have enough money in your life, there is one and only one primary reason. You have not conditioned yourself for wealth. Let's start with a little understanding about money. First of all, when you talk about money, have you ever noticed what an emotionally charged issue it is for people? I mean, people usually go one extreme or the other. Either it's like real positive for them and they get real excited, or they say, yeah, I want to be able to make some money. I want to make things happen in that area. Or you see the direct opposite extreme, where people literally have contempt for it, as if it was something evil or suspect, something that you should avoid at almost all costs. And that usually shows up, obviously, in their lack of economic well-being. Why is it such an emotional issue for us? Well, we could spend several days just analyzing all the associations that have been attached to money throughout the years, both in religious terms as well as in business terms, all the experiences that we've had. But the truth is, money is nothing but a representation, a means to measure the exchange of value between people. So one of the questions that I've asked myself is, why do so many people fail to achieve financial abundance in a country where financial opportunity surrounds us literally at every moment? It beckons to us. And yet most of us never do that. We never create the financial abundance we deserve to have. So I asked the question, why not? Why don't people succeed financially? Out of that question, I started getting some answers on my own, but I also started getting answers by going out and modeling some of the most successful people in the world financially. People that are in the $100 million to $1 billion class. I figured, hey, if I'm going to get some answers, these people can tell me. And I looked for people specifically in that area who have made it financially on their own. People who have started with little or nothing, ideally. And by the way, there are many more than you realize. We live in a country where people can generate net worths of $100 to $500 million, starting with a little idea for a computer in their garage. Or where somebody can go to IBM as a young kid and become a billionaire by his mid-30s, an example of Bill Gates. So there are lots of role models of unbelievable possibility. And you may say, well, that's not my goal. I can appreciate that. But these people certainly know how to create and build wealth, and more importantly, maintain it. You know, years ago, there was a book written called Think and Grow Rich, and I'm sure you've heard of it. You probably read it as well. It's one of those very first books that I read when I first started reading personal development material. And you know, the book was based on the research done back in the early 1900s when Andrew Carnegie asked Napoleon Hill to actually make a study of what it takes to build wealth. And my own work in this area could be called Think and Grow Rich Today, because that is, in today's society, with today's distinctions and today's technology, what is today's approach to building wealth? What really makes the difference financially today? And what I found is there are certain distinctions that have not changed because the building of wealth is fundamental. And so a big part of my research has been, what is the mindset of wealth? What does it allow certain people to not only expect it, but find a way? What I've found is that most people, even when they learn how to do things, if you don't handle what we're going to do, they usually sabotage it. Because most people have what I call wealth wounds. So the obvious question is, what is the number one reason why most people fail financially? And the answer is so simple that it eludes most of us. It's because we associate negative things to having excess money. In fact, the word excess by itself for most people is a negative. So I wonder why we don't ever have it. The very thing I talked to you about here earlier in this program, the thing that runs our whole life, is two things. What are they? Anything we associate pain to, we're going to avoid, especially if it's major pain. And anything we associate pleasure to, we're going to move towards. Now, you may again say, well, Tony, what are you talking about? Of course I associate pleasure to making money. Because if I had money, then I could really have more time to be with my family. I wouldn't have to work at certain things. Or if I had money, I could give certain things that are really important to me. Or I could support a specific charity I believe in. Or you know what? I could travel. Or I could just do whatever I wanted as quick as I wanted. Of course I want money. If you don't have it, you're right. You do want it.